much. I hope you'll pardon us, but of course, the reason why we are smiling, your guess is as good as mine. Otherwise, that's the reason why the spokesperson, the mouthpiece of the party, Comrade Mutsvangwa, is here. So, welcome you all, our comrades from, our colleagues from the media. I must say from the onset, it's been our pleasure to have been working with you and to see you doing your work and doing so freely without any infringement from us. And most importantly, to continue to see brothers like Blessed Mshanga here with us, and of course, more new faces. We are so very grateful to the media for continuing to treat us as a partner. Thank you very much for that and for doing your work exactly in terms of what it is. I will not waste the time. The jury is out, and the spokesperson, it is exactly over to you to engage our colleagues. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, members of the Fourth Estate, an indispensable arm of the democratic process in any country which aspires to be ruled according to the wish of the majority population of that particular country. We are happy that you continue to disseminate the wishes of the people of Zimbabwe, and an election time is actually the penultimate time of people expressing themselves as to whom should be their rulers. I will start by congratulating the people of Zimbabwe for the peaceful and mature way they exercise themselves in the vote, which is almost a mini by-election, which is being accepted by all the political parties as a dry run of the coming elections come 2023. I want to congratulate all the winners who came out of this election. Regardless of party affiliation, we want to congratulate them. As Democrats in Zanu PF, we say the best candidates won. That's how we say. We say the best candidates won because they are a product of the verdict of the people of Zimbabwe. And if the people of Zimbabwe so choose, so be it. So to all the winners, you were the best candidates, you won. Congratulations. Having said that, we also want to congratulate the party which performed well in the elections. And indeed, the winner is reflected by additional seats which you may have won and additional voters which you may have garnered during the election. Because after all, a plebiscite is a game of numbers. So numbers decide who comes first and who comes last. So in this instance, our President Emmerson Mnangagwa did very well, as shall be reflected in my additional remarks. His ruling party also did very well in the elections, and the candidates of the ruling party who wrestled seats from the opposition did very well. With due respect, I can't say the same about the opposition because they went in with a certain number of seats, both at national level and at local level. And most of the seats belonged to the opposition because it is their fissures, it is their endless fights which ended in them expelling each other from parliament. And according to the constitution, if you get expelled, you cannot replace from the party. You got to go back and ask the electorate. And in the event, the electorate gave their verdict as to the outcome of the fractious nature of the MDC alliance, now the CCC and others. And they were punished accordingly for their immature fights. I want to congratulate Manicaland Province for giving us an additional seat in the National Assembly, which became seat number 146 in our absolute two-thirds majority in Parliament. I also want to congratulate Harare Province for adding another seat in Epworth, which gave us seat number 147, 2 additional seats in our absolute majority in Parliament. I also want to congratulate several local council districts where Zanu PF snatched seats from the MDC. This cannot equally be said of the other parties. So I said the first one past the post is given the Olympic medal. In this instance, the first one past the post in all instances was Zanu PF. So the Olympic medal of the elections belongs to the part of President E.D. Mnangagwa. It belongs to Zanu PF, the part of the Zimbabwe Revolution. And it belongs to the winners in Zanu PF who snatched seats. I also want to congratulate those in Zanu PF who managed to retain their seats, all of them. It means that the electorate did not feel any misgiving about their trust and confidence in Zanu PF representation. That's why we didn't lose any seats. So we only added. I also wish those who may have lost during the elections for giving credence to the Zimbabwean democratic processes by participating in those elections.
Yes.
I also want to give particular thumbs up to the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission for providing a fair hunting ground for all the parties. I do hope that the unfair criticisms which have been leveled against the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission to the team of Justice Priscilla Chigumba can now die down because they have accorded due wins to the CCC when they won. The CCC was of the view that ZEC was biased. I haven't seen any situation where a victory has been snatched away from CCC by ZEC. Or a complaint up to now. So maybe they will now have to swallow their words and say the criticism which they were leveling against ZEC was unfounded because it has made them win, it has made them retain their seats, it has made them settle their scores among MDC factions. If the paradox is, if you are happy with the fact that you trounced MDCA of Monzora, you must also be happy that you are being trounced by Zanu PF.
Yes.
Because it is the same process of the elections which has accorded you a victory against Monzora, which also made sure that you feel the loss to Zanu PF. So it means that the process is a fair ground, and the endless cacophony about electoral process reform, about registration of voters, about Zanu PF this, about ZEC that, maybe now it can end. And people focus on the business of the day, which is winning the heart and minds of the electorate. Because they are the ones who are being given a chance by ZEC to decide who is the victor in the Zimbabwean electoral process. We may be a young democracy. We are not perfect, but as I have emphasized, No party understands the fight for democracy in Africa more than Zanu PF, because this is a product of blood and sacrifice of up to 100,000 souls against those who would now want to judge us about our democratic processes. We paid the ultimate price. And I always want to remind the fourth press, the fourth estate, that we are a product of a democratic process in 1980 where the ballot decided who should become the ruler in Zimbabwe. Even when the bullet delivers us the military victory which we had desired, we used the bullet to create conditions for a democratic process. We did not use the bullet as export to the office. No, we did not. We only used it as the bullet was a process to the ballot for us. This is unique in modern history, because in all other revolutionary born states, from China to Cuba to Vietnam to Korea to Algeria, maybe even to Mozambique, to Angola, the mere victory in the battlefield as a national liberation movement assured the party that they became rulers forever. In our case, no. Zimbabwe made a departure. So the people of Zimbabwe are by nature democratic. Please respect their choices. Don't let them be taught by Western countries who deny them democracy. So we are hoping that certain young man and his party, now that the people of Zimbabwe have made a choice, he should not be tempted to continue to cavort with the likes of Kate Hoy and other right-wing British marquises, or House of British Lords, who hanker and hanker for the time when Zimbabwe belonged to them. They've got title deeds from 1890 about this land of Zimbabwe, and it is written in their family wills. And 2 decades after the land reform, they still hanker and hunger for the land of Zimbabwe, and they are organizing a conference in London, and they're inviting the opposition to go and use that platform to revive their claims of land to the Zimbabwe people. No, I think the MDC should finally cut and the Triple C, now that they've changed it to a new name, they should now cut the umbilical cord with those people, especially at a time when most of the urban land is now going to be given title deeds by Zanu PF to those people who have since moved in and reclaimed the national birthright of Zimbabwe. So we are hoping that this election now gives a certain sense of maturity to the MDC, that the petulant and peevish nature which has marked some of their behavior can now be cast away because the voter has decided. I also want to remind my statement a couple of weeks ago when people were saying that there were a lot of young people who were rushing to MDC rallies. And I said, a rally is not a booth. A booth is where power is dispensed with in the Zimbabwean constitution. And the booth decided that fate on last Saturday, not the rallies of young people who may come because the MDC has been denying them recreational facilities as urban young people. They want recreational facilities. They want somewhere where they can enjoy themselves. Unfortunately, in 2 decades of MDC rule of towns, there is no recreational facility for young people. There is nowhere where they can go and just enjoy themselves as urbanites. So in the event, if there's a gathering of a politician and maybe he's excitable as a young man and he's got some young girls around him, it's natural that some young people may want to go and be part of the crowd. It's natural because there's no other entertainment. Maybe this time the MDC can realize that a rally is not a booth. The booth is where power is dispensed with. Furthermore, we also hope that they can get down to serious business as winners, because there is a responsibility which comes with winning elections. That's why we congratulated the MDC for the good performance it has done, notwithstanding the loss it has suffered to Zanu PF. Can they go back and seriously look at removing the rubbish which has become the eyesores of our cities? Can they go back and remove the sewage which festers in the urban areas which are their strongholds? Can they go back and provide running water and focus on providing running water for people? Because that's what an urban area is about. There is a whole gamut of issues which says that urbanization is the future of humankind. These are the issues, these are the things which the MDC should be addressing as urban winners. Be responsible. Continuously trying to blame the central government when you are in government yourself at local governments is not the game. Because what is now happening is that the electorate is catching up with them, because we see this election which happened last Saturday as an inflection point. An inflection point in a graph is where a graph takes a turn. We may not have made huge gains, but we definitely made pointers to the fact that we are going to be making huge gains. And we see 2023 as an opportunity where that inflection point in the fortunes of Zanu PF can be sustained. And how will it be sustained? It will be sustained because the message of our president is beginning to resonate with the electorate, which is exactly why the inflection point is a byproduct of the new look Zanu PF, which is for urban renewal, which is for infrastructure for the country, which is for business people being given a chance to do what they do best, opening up factories and providing infrastructure to Zimbabwe. That's what Open for Zimbabwe is open for businesses is all about. When the president announced that in 2018, people thought they thought it was just a hollow slogan. But now that slogan has gained traction. Business people are happy with the way the Zanu PF is running the country. That's why the economy, even by IMF standards, they published a few days ago, they were here. They said Zimbabwe is on a growth trajectory, and the IMF has never been our friend for a long time. So when you begin to be given accolades by those who have been your persistent critics, you must say something is good. And even those who do not like you must accept that something is good. So we are being mugged not only by the electorate, but even by international development institutions like the IMF. It means President Mnangagwa's message is getting through. He is getting through with the urban electorate. Why? Because urbanization is an inevitable trend in the development of a country. And for 2 decades, Zanu PF had taken the attitude that the urban areas are the hunting ground of MDC. The Renew Republic has taken a different turn. It says urban areas are equally the hunting ground of Zanu PF, because every country must go through the process of urbanization if it is to modernize. So we are here for the long term. We shall be contesting each and every vote in urban areas henceforth. And the inflection point of last Saturday is a stark warning to the MDC that their days of urban electoral supremacy are under serious challenge. This is the message which we want the MDC, and we are being open about it. We are not hiding it. We are saying to them, your urban supremacy days are over. And for that to be contested, we shall be pinpointing everything lax or corrupt which the MDC has been doing in urban areas. We shall be highlighting it to the electorate. We want the voter to account to make sure that every urban MP of the MDC accounts for the vote which they got on last Saturday. We shall be making sure that every councillor of the MDC who won last Saturday, the voter shall make him account in that ward why you won. And if the garbage is still there, if the sewage is still the swimming ground of young people, if running water is not available and you are in charge, then we will make sure that you will be made accountable, because that we think is going to be the decider of the urban vote in 2023. So believe you me, we will be there toe for toe, foot for foot with MDC in urban areas, because we are determined to increase our gains of the electoral vote in urban areas. Now, we also have to say something about the areas where we made gains in with the rural vote. First, the margin between the MDC vote and ours in rural areas reflects a washout. Do you know what is a washout? It means we almost cleaned the rural vote. It means that the MDC, which had always said they aspire to make some inroads in rural areas, they failed to make traction. So not only are they in a defensive position in urban areas, they are hopelessly being rejected in rural votes. This is very important for a country where 70 to 80% of the vote is rural. We are not yet urbanized. The majority of the seats in this country are in rural constituencies. So if the MDC cannot make headway there, but instead they make tailway there, they are not making headway, they are making tailway there. It means that the signs are very bleak for Chamisa ever aspiring to go to State House. He should begin to think of cutting his cloth accordingly. And I've seen somebody on the social media say Chamisa is the master of Harare. Maybe that's what he should aspire for. Cut his cloth accordingly. But Harare alone does not decide the fate of who occupies State House. You need the rural vote. And you saw our president going to Binga. You saw him speak in Tonga. You saw him speak in Debele to the vote there. Previously, for the last 2 decades, the margin of loss for Zanu PF in Binga was 20,000. Now we are at 8,000. The MDC is at 10,000. The difference is 2,000. Somebody has made a very dramatic comeback in Binga, and that somebody is Zanu PF. We are warning the MDC that their days of supremacy in Binga Amati North are over. And I can tell you that the president announced that he will be back in Binga. He's going back to Binga on 5 April. We are going back to Binga. We take the electorate seriously. We are going to thank them for the turnaround, the inflection point in the Binga vote. But we are also going to build upon that with our sights firmly focused on 2023. It's not only that he went there to speak in Tonga and Debela, to the wishes of the local people. Some of the most dramatic infrastructural developments of the Second Republic under Zimbabwe is open for business are happening in Matebele and North. We gave Victoria Falls, the town, the herd immunity in the fight against COVID. We said, if we want to see how we can win, let the tourist town show Zimbabwe how we should fight COVID. And sure enough, we got our lessons from Victoria Falls through herd immunity. The tourist town is doing very well. The hotels are full now. We are tweaking through the COVID committee all the rules about COVID so that we facilitate the return of the tourists, so that the people of Victoria Falls can prosper again. Remember, a revolutionary party's purpose from the beginning in the 1963 is to give prosperity to a people. We paid the price for people to get prosperity by our lives. We never lose sight that the goal of Zanu PF as the part of revolution is to give people prosperity. And Victoria Falls as a town is showing that Zanu PF cares about prosperity. That's why we got more seats, council seats in Victoria Falls. We have given them an exchange, a new exchange, a hard currency exchange, which is doing extremely well because it is the registry point. It is the IPO, initial public offering center, for most of the hard most of the hard currency minerals, gold in particular. It is there. Eureka is there. Blanket Mine is there. Many others are going there. So Victoria Falls is registering a palpable boom for the benefit of the new business policies open for business of Zanu PF and President Mnangagwa's Second Republic. It's not only Victoria Falls, Wange, which is always the energy base of this country, well ahead of Kariba. The hydroelectric power of Kariba is important, but the one which is historically the birth of the new nation of Zimbabwe in colonial times is Wange. That's why the railway line left Cape Town and touched on Wange, because of the coal. So the energy base of this country is Victoria, is Wange. The town has come back, Wange. People there are very happy about the policy because there are new thermal power stations being opened up and connected to the grid. Wange 7 and 8 is on board. Jongshin has just been connected. Wange 7 and 8 is going to be commissioned this year. Coke oven batteries are sprouting all over the town. Dinson Collier now exports 50,000 tons, 150,000 out of 150,000, of which 100,000 is going to the local market at Selu, to the ferrochrome. We no longer need to import coking coal for our ferrochrome industries because Wange is supplying. Not only supplying Wange, DRC is getting its coking coal for the cobalt mine from Wange. Even ArcelorMittal, South Africa, the largest steel plant in Africa to date, is getting its coking coal from Wange. By May this year, another 200,000 tons will be commissioned. By next year, another 1 million tons will be commissioned just by one company, but there are many others. So there is a prosperity which is coming back to Wange. No longer are the Tonga people and the Ndebele people from that area selling wooden artifacts for their prosperity. No, young Tonga boys and Ndebele girls from that area are busy working on computers in factories, which are showing that Zimbabwe can again become a major exporter. These are the palpable gains of the Second Republic. Heavy industry attracting world-class capital to the resources of Zimbabwe, which are mouth-watering. So the Second Republic is selling the idea of Zimbabwe as a natural and profitable destination of capital. That's why Wange in Matebele and North is changing its fortunes, and along the way changing the fortunes of Zimbabwe. And that will be the town which will be supplying coking coal to the Chivumanize iron steel complex. These things resonate. That's why you can see prosperity is being translated into more votes for Zanu PF in Mat North. It's not just people turning around because there are some slogans which have been made by the ruling party. No, we are doing things which make people's lives change every day. So we are determined to continue on that trajectory of changing the people's lives so that they can get a better life. And in the process, we are also getting the support of our diaspora. We are reaching reasons which made you look for jobs abroad, chasing away businessmen from Zimbabwe because of indigenization and stupid laws of the First Republic, have been changed by the Second Republic, so that businessmen come to Zimbabwe and make it possible for Zimbabwean people to get jobs within Zimbabwe. So we anticipate that even with the passage of time, these Zimbabweans who are being bothered with permits in South Africa will eventually be coming home to better pastures. The conditions are there. Already 5,000 jobs are going to come out of setting up the blast furnaces in Chivu Manize. We need young technicians, welders, and other related jobs, technicians to come and set up that blast furnace. That means that we have to go to South Africa, where our young people will build stadiums for the World Cup in 2010. Now they can come back home like they are doing now, building roads. We are building roads using our expertise, not foreign expertise. Why? Because our people went to greener pastures in other lands. People may not know, the people who are doing Invictus Energy are Zimbabweans. This is the white diaspora from the 1970s and 80s. We went to Perth because Western Australia is a mining region of note in the world. So a lot of Zimbabwean whites and a lot of Zimbabwean professionals after the meltdown of the economy went to Australia. They are the ones who are driving the exploration in Muzarabani. These are Zimbabweans, most of them. We are not looking for foreigners to do it. So once there is that seamless integration between the diaspora and those at home, this economy will boom. That's why the message of the president is resonating even with the diaspora. In short, we are selling the message of hope and prosperity for the elections in 2023. That is the centerpiece of President Mnangagwa's message. Hope and prosperity for 2023. If the MDC, now CCC, persists in thinking that sanctions will deliver a vote to them, the urban vote now knows the price of sanctions. They will punish them in 2023. And we will make sure that that message is driven home. You cannot continue to blame the central government for your faults as administrators, for your corruption as administrators, when at the same time you didn't go and vote to say we are there to spend 144 million US dollars of a Chinese loan on buying 4x4s for ourselves as councillors. That's what they did with that money. Not one pipe was built at Morton Jaffrey Works. Not one pump was installed at Morton Jaffrey Works by an MDC council which signed for that loan from the Chinese. The government was just a guarantor. They were signed for it. We are going to make sure that people make them be accountable for their misdeeds, for their corruption, because we think that is going to win more votes for Zanu PF. And we make no bonds about it. Tichavafumura kuti tiwine mavotes. So kana vachifunga kuti zvavaita kudhara zvongoti central government, rwendo rwuno with the Second Republic, that game is over. You make your dirty, you wash your linen, and we will make sure that it is washed in public for everybody to know, because that is what is going to win us elections in 2023. So by and large, that is our message. We want to congratulate our president for working very hard. We take our electoral processes serious. If we were riggers, we would have been sleeping at night, hoping that Priscilla Chigumba can just deliver that vote as is alleged by the MDC that she is there to rig. But we take her seriously with her ZEC, and we have been actually rewarded by more gains because we take her seriously. But if you disparage ZEC and you say they are not fair, if your voters become apathetic, it's your fault, because you are telling them that the system is against you when you still want to go into the same system and use it to try to gain power. You can't have your cake and eat it at the same time. Make the MDC realize that if they disparage national institutions, which then make them win against Monzora, and they dance from the top when they win against Monzora, then you should also respect the same institutions when they make Zanu PF win. Because it is the same process which has made you win and lose. You can't have your cake and eat it at the same time. You can't make your bed and lie on it at the same time. Give due respect to national institutions unless you don't want to use them for power. If you do that, you also demobilize the electorate. And we will mobilize the electorate accordingly to take serious respect of national institutions. So the voter registration we are going to be moving is to tell them that your vote matters. That's why we took seats away from the MTC. So we energize our voters because they know that the process will deliver results which they will be happy with. If you disparage the same institutions, I'm warning the MDC, you also demobilize your voters. Why should they register if you are saying Priscilla Chibumba is going to be rigging? Then you leave, but when Monzora loses, you clap to say Priscilla Chibumba is very good because she has made sure Monzora. I haven't seen Monzora refuse the result of the election because she lost. He hasn't done it. You see, he respects national institutions. But Chamisa is selective. A cafeteria for him. You choose your menu. In Zanu PF, it's not a cafeteria, it's an a la carte menu. You take everything on the menu. That's what we do. So, thank you very much. I decided to be a little bit preachy because we're in a celebratory mood today.
Thank you very much.
It's your occasion for questions. We are here for you, and we are ready to answer any questions. But forgive us for being preachy. Why? We have won. But if we have not won convincingly, we are very sure that we have an inflection point which points to even more wins in 2023. Somebody should read that there is the graph has got an inflection point, and that somebody should be triple C. But we are happy now for them. They've been legitimized by the electorate. They can come back to parliament and participate, and hopefully they will accept that President Mnangagwa is the president of the republic and not walk out of parliament, because it is the same parliament which has made you win the vote which you have today. So maybe that peevish and naughty element, that infantile approach to politics, that superficial aspiration to go to aspire for only one goal. Kufambira chinhu chimwe chete seambulance. Ambulance aitakure chituna. Nonokuda vanhu vanorwara. MDC up to now, as long as we are not in state house, everything doesn't matter. Even if we win in urban areas, we can be as corrupt as can be, doesn't matter because we want to go to state house. There is a price to be paid for that attitude, because at local government level, people also need to be governed. That's why it's called local government. They have not been governing. They have been keeping rubbish. They have been keeping making children swim in sewage. They have been denying people running water. They have not bothered in 2 years to be seen with a businessman. Our president is cutting ribbons every day for new factories. His calendar, if you were to cut ribbons, he would not even govern, because new factories are so happy and businessmen are so happy with our president, because factories create jobs. That's what he's doing. That's what a town is there for. That's what the MDC should have been discharging to urban areas, making sure there are factories, making sure that businesses are given incentives, making sure that they spend their time at the airport, because businessmen arrive in a country at the airport, Harare International Airport, under the jurisdiction of an MDC mayor. They should be having every day a red apron at the airport welcoming businessmen so that they can make this country prosperous. 2 decades of that, you never see the MDC with anybody. Rather, they go and make a congressman in America happy up talking about sanctions. What does a businessman in America do to help Zimbabwe? He doesn't invest. Worse, he puts a law to make sure that investment doesn't go to Zimbabwe. That law kills the urban areas. It kills urban votes. We are going to make them accountable for their foreign policy blunders with sanctions. I thank you.
Thank you very much, National Spokesperson. What an enthusiastic sermon to our colleagues. Well done for that. Like I said, the smiles are just too much today, We have won. And in his own ways, you said what? I have forgotten. I think next time I'll also bring my own dictionary. I reminded you yesterday. There are two types of menus. The a la carte one.
The a la carte and the cafeteria menu.
We go the a la carte.
We go the a la carte where you take the full menu. The MDC goes the cafeteria. They choose, they drop, they choose, they drop. Then along the way they drop the electorate. Yes. And they lose seats.
Thank you very much, spokesperson. The opportunity is yours, our colleagues, to engage the spokesperson on the aftermath of this election, which we have won, and on top of that, any other matters that you feel are pertinent to discuss with the party. You are free. My brother, Columbus, I see a hand up. You were calling me in the morning. I didn't want to answer because I knew the man himself will be. Wonderful. Welcome.
Mr. Mutsvangwa, in short, where to this game that we've gained now?
We are rejuvenated as a party. We see that working hard to satisfy the needs of the electorate is its rewards. We have seen it. We can touch the rewards. 2 seats gained from the opposition. In an election where we're fishing in the pond of the opposition, they also tried to fish in our pond. They failed. The Ted Pauls. They caught Ted Pauls. We got bream. We got eels, catfish out of it. We are enjoying a meal from fishing in their pond. They are licking some wounds. They are looking from this. If we see this past 2 days, the Saturday, as a dog fight, there's one dog which is licking its wounds. And they are licking them in those seats which they lost at council level. They definitely are looking their wounds in a province which they had done so well before, Manicaland. If you remember, in 2008, Manicaland was a near washout for Zanu PF. Manicaland. It was a near washout for Zanu PF. I think Mutsvangwa is one of the few people who managed to snatch something out of a very difficult 2008. Now come to 2022, we are getting a seat, even in a peri-urban constituency. Mutare South is peri-urban, Yes. This is a point. Epworth is fully urban. This is a point of what is happening. That they should read the reading on. I said it's an inflection point. So we are rejuvenated, we are rejigged. We feel that the president's message is the right message for the electorate. We are saying to him, more fire with that message. Make business people happy. Continue with the urban renewal. Provide infrastructure. Make as much as possible yellow metal. You know what is yellow metal? Bulldozers, earth movers, cranes. Bring them as many as you can, as much as you can, all over the country, so that people can see progress, that the resources which Zimbabwe has are being taken to the global market for their prosperity. Because that's what yellow metal does. When you see graders doing the road between Bridge and Harare, that's yellow metal. People can see the difference of driving now between Harare and Bridge. These things matter because people want a better life. People don't want people who say dira jeche. Road diri kunadzirwa, iwo ruti dira jeche. People will punish you for that. In any event, jecha racho rese ticharipedza tichinadzira maroads. There won't be any jecha left for the MDC kudira for lack of progress. Because that's what Zanu PF stands for. We are standing for progress. And the people are rewarding us accordingly. So we are saying to the president, more of the message of progress, more of the message of prosperity, more hope for young people. And that is what is going to win us a tsunami of an election in 2023, in short.
Thank you very much. The questions, yes, my brother, Blessing.
Sure. Thank you, Director Mbadi. Just two quick questions, Ambassador Mutangwa. The first one is that you were speaking about rallies, not being, but you also had huge rallies. In Kwekwe, you had a massive rally filled Bizo Stadium. Your candidate just got 2,000. So the people at your rally coming also to seek entertainment. I want clarity on that. And also, the second question is, I've also had an opportunity to hear some members of your party saying that some of your supporters are actually voting for CCC, and they are worried about that because they will see a number of their supporters on the polling station, but the number of people that they will see that they know are card-carrying members will not tally with the number of votes that they have been received. Have you interacted?
Look, even if we didn't win Kwekwe, we look at the inflection point. Kwekwe was the first city which Zanu PF lost when Zimasco closed down, when Zisco closed down, when the heavy industry, which is the Midlands as the heartland of Zimbabwe's steel and ferrochrome industry, collapsed. That's where we started losing. And remember, this was where the trade unions were very strong, because trade unions go where there are factories. So when sanctions hit, factories closed because sanctions hit factories. So we lost. So we did not expect miracles about turning around. It takes time. This is 2 decades of MDC supremacy. Don't expect something dramatic. What you are happy with is an inflection point. That is a turning point. So if you look at the number of urban votes we got in Kwekwe, even though we didn't win, it means we are making progress. And secondly, the city which was won back by the MDC, by the Triple C in Kwekwe, belonged to the NPF, not to Zanu PF. So we did not lose a seat in Kwekwe. We may not have won one, but we definitely did not lose one. So, but in the meantime, by March next year, we start producing steel at Manize. I told you the blast furnaces are in place. 5,000 people will be employed there. A new transmission line is now being built as we talk. The tenders should be moving in very soon. From Sherwood to the new steel plant, 350-volt line to go and support the new steel plant. This is progress which is restoring the vitality of the Midlands as the heavy industrial heartland of Zimbabwe. We are very happy that come elections, which happen anytime 6 months before July next year, or 6 months after July next year, by then there will be other palpable infrastructure projects, other major investment projects, which will have come to fruition, because it takes time. The gestation period of major industrial projects is anything between 18 to 36, maybe 42 months. The Second Republic has been in power now since 3 years ago. And the message started getting through in the last 18 months. The fruits of that message of open for business and big capital coming into Zimbabwe are beginning to be planted, and they are sprouting. That's why even British companies are going to Muzarabani to bring rigs to drill for oil. So we believe that the gestation period of some of the major investment projects being championed by the president through world-class capital coming into Zimbabwe the president will be cutting ribbons on those projects, and the smoke will be coming out of chimneys, and foundries will be churning out ferrochrome and steel by the time we go to the elections, anytime as of either side of July next year. So watch it. Watch it. People want prosperity. You can't hide a blast furnace chimney in Chivu, Mvuma, when you are driving along the highway to South Africa and fail to be impressed by what President Mnangagwa is doing. And that will be happening before the elections next year, because the investor whom we got is the best, is number one in the world. And the resource which is working on the Manise iron ore deposits, they are some of the largest in the whole world. So the recipe for success is assured. The a la carte meal will be there for the president to campaign in 20. We are telling it in an open manner. And in the meantime, there is a party which is saying, Dirai Judge, hey, the electorate will punish them. So that's what we want. We just want to tell you. As to the other thing, look, only a scientific analysis can vouch for what you have said. So we leave it to the analysts as the figures come out. But what I can assure you is that Zanu PF, you saw what happened in rural areas. People were voting according to their cell registers. We will be. So if that is the case, thank you for giving us a premonition. We will make sure that our structures reach out to those people so that they go and vote. In the meantime, there is another party whose leader says, I have no ideology, no one's Nelson. Whose leader says, I have no strategy, the non's Nelson Namahere. Ipati ya Nelson Namahere. We don't need a structure, we don't need an ideology, we don't need policies, we don't need programs. Inina Nelson Namahere Tingori right. Because we look beautiful and we dress beautiful to the electorate. I'm handsome, therefore vote for me. I'm beautiful, therefore vote for me. People shall look for meat in a party. They shall look for a meal from a party. And by the way, the president is looking seriously at the issues about inflation. Yeah, we have realized that the inflation is the single biggest motivating factor of the urban vote. There was an expectation, Nana BT, in 2020, that July 31, we will be in the hyperinflation times of former governor of the central bank, Gonu. The president has been working hard. We have never gone back to hyperinflational times. In fact, yes, the inflation is still there, but it's coming down. The currency value is the single most important issue which is facing the Zanu PF. The president is going to make sure that before we get to the elections in 2023, the value of the Zimbabwean currency will be safeguarded and the earning power of the population will be maintained, and that the buying power of the Zimbabwe dollar will assure that people can have a meal before them. This is the singular major preoccupation of the financial and economic thrust of President Mnangagwa. That's why we are saying these big investments will lead to more exports, and more exports means more end dollars, and more end dollars means a stronger currency. It's happening now. See how much gold we are now producing. From 19 tons, we are now at 20,000, at 20 tons. I mean, at 30 tons, not 20. From 19 to exports have doubled. We were at 4 billion 3 years ago. We are now at 7 to 8 billion. These are things which make the day-to-day life of a Zimbabwean get better. Yes, we haven't addressed all of them because Rome was not built in a day. But look, as Lenin once said, there are years when nothing happens. Then there are weeks when years happen. There are weeks when years happen. There are years when nothing happens, then there are weeks when years happen. President Mnangagwa is there to make sure that there are now weeks when years happen, and the momentum is there. I saw the reception in Dubai. I see the amount of businessmen trooping to State House. I see the amount of ribbons he is cutting. I see the yellow metal imports which are coming into the country. I see the gold reserves of Zimbabwe, the gold we are digging increasing. I see the exports of ferrochrome increasing. I see the exports of coking coal increasing. I see Pumvudza, make sure that we don't import food. I see wheat policies, making sure that we don't have to import wheat, even when we have problems in Ukraine. These are things which make the people of Zimbabwe's lives better, and that's what we are going to sell. And if your policy is to say unoda kuzvidira jecha izvozvo, ameno zvako ndopa wachaperera ipapo, because the inflection point has shown that kudira jecha hakuna kwakunokuendesa. The thing, mutakura is too good. Mutakura uri kubikwa napresident uri kudaka, uri kufadza vanhu. Vanodira jecha zvichashaya basa, vachatandaniswa nevanhu kuti usatishatisire mutakura wedu. In short, I'm saying the MDC, the Triple C, MDC 10 Triple C, they have to change their message, because the inflection point of the electorate says vanhu vaneta nekunyebero.
Thank you very much, spokesperson.
Any other question?
Any other question? Yes, my brother from SABC.
Thank you very much. In brief, would you say you are happy with the amount of resources in campaigning? These are the outcome. You just have 1, 2, 6. Are you happy with all that resource that you see? That would be the first question. The second question would be, with hindsight, which areas do you think you would have done better in this
Yes. You see, I want to put it this way. In urban areas, we have been like a patient, a sick patient whose health keeps going down. Mm-hmm. That's what we have been for 2 decades. If you go to the hospital and you see the sick patient beginning to stand up and go to the toilet on his own, you are bound to be happy, isn't it? There's an improvement. So our joy comes from the fact that we are making inroads. That's why we got 2 more seats. That's why we got more council seats. If you cannot draw joy from the point that you are at a turning point, it means you are not appreciative of the electorate, which is saying you are doing the right thing. So we are very happy with the electorate, which now says, thank you, Zanu PF. We will reward you with more seats because what you are doing is right. So it means we have to build more upon that. Your question should worry those who have lost seats. That's where they're the ones who should be worried. If this thing continues on this trend, where are they going? We are on an upward swing. You have to be happy. My father knew I was very smart. Each time I came home with good grades, he was happy. My brother was not as smart as I was, but he also worked very hard, and his grades improved. When he improved, he got more rewards from my father. I think, my father bought him a nice pair of shoes, better than me, because he was happy that the struggler son, the struggling son has made an improvement. So we are very happy that we are making an improvement. We can't say it about the other side, if I can answer you. Resources, we struggle as a party, but I think with the corporate message of prosperity we are putting into the business community, with the prosperity of our people in rural areas, we think that we shall be able to get more resources That's why the president is being asked to cut ribbon for factories everywhere. That's why the president is being invited to, to groundbreaking ceremonies everywhere. We naturally think that the MDC will lose support of the business community. They will have less resources. They will have to rely more on foreign resources, which are manipulative. That's why they are crying so much for the NGOs to continue to be an alternative government of Zimbabwe under the PVO bill, because they believe that's where their source of funding will come from. We believe our source of funding will come from our support from within Zimbabwe. So if businessmen are going to be happy with Zanu PF, we will get more resources. It also means, crucially, one of the best organized communities in Zimbabwe for historical reasons is the white community. They came here and they ruled for more than 90 years. We have two white diasporas from the past. Those who ran away in the 1970s when I was at university because they didn't want to fight unpopular war of Ian Smith. They absconded or they gapped because they didn't want to fight. So they left in the 1970s and 60s and 70s. Then post-independent, there was a white diaspora who said we can't be ruled by a black majority government. They went away, running away from independence. Then, of course, there's the black diaspora from the meltdown in 2000, when the economy collapsed under sanctions. What is of interest is the returning numbers of white former nationals coming back from South Africa, coming back from Australia. And I tell you, their consumption of cement in this country, most of it is being driven by construction in the suburban areas. Where there was one house for the family, white family, there are now 6 or 7 detached houses, 5 of them for rentals, 2 for the family. If you go now to the northern suburbs of Harare on a Saturday with Borodale, you would think that you are in northern Johannesburg or in North London. The white community is coming back. Why? Because they are happy with the policies of our president. They feel they can identify with their country once again. And we are very happy with that. What does it mean? The white population, the white farmers are the ones who gave organization to the MDC in 2000. The MDC has no history of organizing anybody in this country. There are only 2 people who organize: war veterans who fought the war and the white people whom we fought against. The MDC, 0 organization. So if the white population decides to divorce itself from the MDC because they are happy with the policies of President Mnangagwa, it means there is no organization in MDC. It means there is no funding in MDC. That's why the rally is full of young people who are just watching what is going on, who don't probably register to vote or are not eligible to vote. There is no organization in that party if the white population does not support it. They've got to learn the hard way, the way we learned the hard way to organize in the 1960s and 70s, and died in big numbers simply to have organization come back to us. Organization does not come from university. I'm a very educated man. Organization comes from doing. So if the white population divorces itself or decides to keep away from the MDC, it creates a very big gap financially and organizationally. That's why Chamisa appeals to say, he is hoping that they can support him. This time it won't happen because we are also contesting for the allegiance of those white people by giving them what is good for themselves, which is prosperity, which is more jobs, which is stability in the country, which is tolerant politics. That's what we are offering. So we are very happy with our performance on that score. I hope, please, I'm long-winded, but I felt I should give a perspective.
Yes.
I hope it helps. A lot of the Zimbabwean white people in South Africa are much happier coming back here. I can't. You got a mask, you are so scared of COVID. I can't hear you properly.
Sorry, I was saying the second part of my question was there are areas where you did do well. In hindsight, what do you think is the
We build upon the experience which we've done by first, if we can retain those areas where we have always had the additional support, it means there's something good which we are doing. We'll do more of that good. If there are areas where we gained from the MDC, like the council seats, we will see at how we gained. What message do we do to gain that support? We will do more of that. If there are areas where we fail to make gains from the MDC, we will read the message of the MDC and make a post-mortem as to why those people still retain their support to the MDC. We will strive to outdo the MDC in those areas. Yes. We are a very scientific party. You don't start a guerrilla war with the rural people who have never seen a weapon in 8 years, 90 years. And you build that guerrilla army from scratch until it eventually becomes the state apparatus of Zimbabwe, until it galvanizes the whole rural population, until it starts appealing to urban people in the 1980s, unless you are doing something scientific. We are a science-based party. So we will build upon our integrity, our history, our honest appreciation of events, our knowledge. The dictum of a revolutionary is know your enemy. If you don't know your enemy, you can't fight a war. That's what we learned. That's why we are very scientific in our approach. We are not delegatarists and believe in mysticism and nonsense. We also don't believe in the story that support from America and England by Kate Hoyes and other right-wing elements can decide the fate of Zimbabwe. We don't believe in that. We believe that the destiny of Zimbabwe lies in us, in Zimbabweans. So this fetish belief in foreigners, which is a hallmark of the MDC Chamisa, it is their downfall. We will make sure that we use that to our advantage. Those who believe in foreigners, ngavaende kunovhota kuEngland. Isusu, we believe in Zimbabweans. We organize the vote here. I thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, all of you, for gracing our occasion. Thank you very much, Comrade Spokesperson. And once again, congratulations to you and congratulations to the ruling party and to all our membership that came out in their numbers to vote.
I still owe you the visit to Chivu, yes. Vuma, Manize. What's taking time is that the investor is step by step briefing the relevant government departments. They have been going to Chivu. The NRZ has been there. ZESA, the supply of electricity, has been there. ZIDA, the ones who give incentives, have been there. So he's building up a brief as complete as can be, because it's a venture between him and the government of Zimbabwe. So I'm very conscious of your trip, but what I can assure you is that when the time comes, you shall have a holistic and wholesome trip to Chivu for the fourth press, because I owe it, Zanu PF owes it, our president owes it to you to disseminate the message that Zimbabwe is once again becoming a major steel producer. And with steel, prosperity of a country is assured. So keep your fingers crossed. I haven't forgotten. I am with you. We will be going together. I will be on that trip. I want to thank you.